Okay, sorry for the backlighting, but I just wanted to update a few of you. This is my Ozark Trail 6-person instant cabin that I chose to use for my paint booth. It fits in my garage really, really well. Can't put it outside. The wind blows it away. Even with weights in it, it scoots it around. But this thing comes with a 20-inch mesh screen at the bottom that my fan sits right up against, and when the fan is running, it sucks it up to it and it holds the filter there. I don't have to do anything but just put them in place. That table that you see is a 6-foot table, so there's tons of room in here, and I can stand up all the way. This particular tent did come with a LED light with a little controller here, and they even have a battery pack that you could put a bunch of batteries in to plug it up to if you're out in the field. But otherwise it comes with a USB that dangles there. So this thing sets up in just a few, maybe a few minutes. It's so quick. I'm not gonna bother showing you how to do it. You can go to YouTube and search it up, but the poles right there where that orange button is, they just telescope out. And right here, there's a little protective cover there, and it pivots there. So when you're ready to fold the tent up, you just retract the legs there, and then you push that corner down, and then the whole thing just folds up. So what I've seen so far, that simple little fan right there with the filter on it and everything closed with the cover over the top here, gives me a nice little airflow through that mesh up there. But I didn't want to build anything permanent, and I didn't want anything that would take up a lot of time. So hopefully this works out for me. We'll see. I'm just going to paint, small parts in it and whatnot, skins. But when the time comes to paint the whole airplane, which I will have to do myself, I'll buy one of those nice big $900 inflatable paint booths for the backyard from Amazon. They seem to be working out well, and other people are using them. So if you have any questions about this, let me know. I'll tell you how it worked out in in the rest of this update. So that thing should be done drying. That's the vertical stabilizer skin. So I'll get that out of here in just a second. But just to give you an idea, that filter was white, and it's not below light. It is really, really dark gray. I'm probably going to go through those faster than I thought I was going to. But it works. I could do a little bit better job. I might try to get a wider, taller filter, and maybe find a way to Velcro it to the tent. But if the wind blows the back of the tent too much, my fan moves and then that falls off. So the whole point of this booth obviously is to not get dust and things on the parts while I'm painting them, but also I don't want to get paint all over my stuff, and more importantly, my neighbors. So I'll keep working on that, but for today I was really happy. So I'm pleased enough with how the vertical stabilizer skin came out with the primer. That spray actually sets down really well. Better than other aerosol sprays that I've used before. That Sim self-etching primer, I'll show you what I'm using here in a sec, but man, I'm not complaining. Just 2 coats, and that's really all I want on it. It tells you to just barely cover whatever you're painting with the first coat, and then come back 5 to 10 minutes later, depending on temperature, and shoot that second coat, and I am content. So the rest of this week, hopefully tomorrow, I will get all of these parts for the horizontal stabilizer primed along with their skins. And this is what I'm using. Let me get the light out of it. There's a part number. I will tell you that you can get this on Amazon in a case way cheaper than you can get it at like an Aero Performance or something like that. So I'm pretty sure that I saw somewhere that somebody used 8 cans of this stuff to do their empennage kit. So who knows, but it's 15.5 ounces a can, and I used almost all of this. There's probably about 10% left in it, And I'm pretty sure that I used some of it on my practice kit up there. All right, here's the parts for the vertical stabilizer. I will say that the paint booth worked out quite well. I could probably use a little bit bigger filter for the hole and a little bit stronger fan, but I did notice flow going to that filter, and the filter is really dirty. I'll show it to you here in a sec. But the parts came out with like no dust on them, no debris, and I made sure to do a light coat on the parts where the rivets are going to join two pieces together. So hopefully it comes out pretty good, but I'm really happy with the way it looks, considering that I chose to use the Sim self-etching primer. I'm just not rich enough to be buying 2 gallons of epoxy primer for $450 or so. I mean, forget that. Plus I'm old and I don't got time to be mixing up 2-part epoxy and cleaning up after. I just want to build the plane, man. All right, here we go. It's the last skin I'm painting. This one is for the horizontal stabilizer. I've got the other side already painted, the vertical stabilizer, and all of their structure painted. I'm excited to get this one done because I can put this tent down and get on with riveting things together for good. Well, that was the first time I took the tent down, and yeah, it just took me a few minutes to get it down and fold it up and stuffed back in the bag.
I wanted to point out real quick that sometimes the wind would blow the fan off of the tent a little bit from it moving back and forth, and then my filter would displace a little or fall. I solved that by just putting this clamp on the handle where the top of that flap is that the tent comes with. I may cut that off or most of it off later, but it ended up working. Nothing budged after that despite the wind. And on these other photos here, you can see the fan and the filter after all the priming was done and how they came out of the ordeal themselves.
So here's the finished product of my long few days of priming. All the horizontal stabilizer skins and structure parts primed, as well as the vertical stabilizer skin and parts. These will be the first things that I get to rivet together for final assembly. The only thing I really have left to do here is maybe get a microfiber and get that dust off the skins from the overspray. But it comes off with my fingers, so it shouldn't be a problem. The Sim primer actually goes on a little bit thinner than I thought it would, and it lays down really flat, so I was really happy with that. But you do go through a lot of it. Those are the cans that I have right there. 2 of them are somewhat full. The other ones are not quite empty, but probably have about 25 to 20% left in them. So I can paint parts if they're hanging or something, but trying to spray down onto a table, it's done doing that. So we'll have to order more. I've got 1 can of that left. Still have the elevator and rudders to do. So I hope that if you're looking for a paint booth and you decide to do what I did, that it works out for you. But for now, I'm not going to complain at all because I'm pretty happy with the results. I'm sure it's going to look great whenever I get it all together, and you can't see it. All right, take it easy. We'll see you on the next one.